are expecting your little one in your arms any moment now and you're wondering what on earth do I pack in my hospital bag, this is the video for you, because as a fourth time mum, I feel like I've learnt from the past and I have gotten packing a hospital bag down to a fine art. So if this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, give it a big thumbs up because it really does support our channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday. And let's get to packing these hospital bags together. If this is our first time meeting, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Beck and I'm currently expecting our fourth and final Bobby to arrive Earthside within the week, which is really exciting and a little bit scary at the same time. But we have finally packed our hospital bag, and that's what I'm sharing today, is what are the essentials that we have found that we need from having 3 previous babies, and what are some things that we just don't pack anymore. The hospital that we have chosen sends out a pre-admission pack that has a whole heap of fact sheets about breastfeeding and like the pediatrics and what to expect during your stay. And part of that is they send a fact sheet of what they recommend you pack in your hospital bag, which when I was a first-time mom, I absolutely appreciated. Now being a fourth-time mom, there are some things on that list that we just don't pack anymore. We really have tried to keep it as minimal as possible, but there are a couple of things that prevent us from keeping it down to the bare minimum. The first of which is this hospital is a breastfeeding friendly hospital, which is one of the reasons why we picked it. So we stay there for 5 days. That helps to encourage your breastfeeding journey, having all the support that you need, making sure that your milk is in, helping you work through your baby blues and the start of sleep deprivation, and it's a really good length of time. We've even had one postpartum journey where we stayed for 6 days just because I was really feeling like I wasn't coping. It was so lovely knowing that I had the knowledge and wisdom of all those wonderful midwives to help me out and really make me feel confident in my motherhood journey. So staying there for 5 days means that you do need to pack for 5 days. The second thing that prevents us from packing minimal is the fact that we don't know the gender of our bub. So this is Bubby's bag here on top, and we have had to pack both girl clothes and boy clothes, and we have obviously some gender neutral clothing. And then the third and main reason for us having to pack big is the fact that because of restrictions, we are not allowed to have any visitors at all, which is really tricky. Back in 2016, when we had our first bub, as soon as we knew she was a girl, friends and family washed and bought up gender appropriate clothing, I guess you could say, and it was such a blessing. And you know, if she had a poo explosion or the clothes became dirty, then family members would take it home, wash it, and then bring it back up or put it in our house. And it was just really lovely to have that sense of community supporting you. However, we are soloing it this time, which is the reason why Bub's bag is so big, is because we have to be prepared for both genders and not being able to wash or any support from the outside world, which is a bit daunting, but we've got this covered. So let's get into what we've packed. When it comes to packing items for baby, there's a couple of categories that I would recommend packing. The first of which is some Sudocrem or some sort of barrier cream. Meconium poo, which is the first poo that Bubby does, is like tar. It's really hard to scrape off their bottom pretty much. So as soon as they're out, I highly recommend putting a barrier cream on just to help with that first nappy change and making it as pleasant as possible to clean them up. Then the rest of the stuff that I've packed is going to be up to you and your personal preference, but this is what we found really helpful. When it comes to sleeping, we do pack a couple of swaddle suits. But in saying that, we've also had babies who do not like to have their arms up and out and sucking. So we also pack some of the swaddle bags. The swaddle bags definitely cocoons them in and kind of mimics them being in the womb, which is great and lovely. Like, you kind of have to figure out the personality of your bub, which is the reason why we're bringing both options. And then finally, we bring 2 sorts of muslin wraps. We have the ones that are stretchy because sometimes you need to have that little bit of extra stretch to really snug them in. But at the same time, we bring the cotton ones, which are more breathable. So having the two different sorts, I highly recommend taking, because like I said, when it comes to meeting Bubby and helping them to feel safe and supported in their little swaddles, you kind of have to figure out their personality. In regards to clothing, I do pack pink and blue clothes, but like I said, we pack gender neutral color clothing as well. One thing we always take are some little onesies that just have long arms and no bottoms. These are great in the earlier days when you're wanting to just have them covered for a little bit of warmth, but you're not wanting to make them hot and sweaty. I do a lot of skin to skin time in hospital, and so Bub and I generally are, yeah, skin to skin. So this is just more so for like night times or sleep times. The other thing that we pack to help warm them up is some pants. And these have the inbuilt little booties. The only thing that's a bit tricky when it comes to those is we've found that our bubs, when they come out, their nails are really sharp and they scratch their faces because all of a sudden there's no amniotic fluid to kind of cushion and protect them, which is the reason why packing onesies is really great, especially if the onesies have the inbuilt mittens that go at the end of the sleeves. But we find packing those kind of categories really helpful. The hospital recommends packing about 6 of the onesies and then 6 other outfits, depending on your child, which obviously you don't know because they're not on the outside yet. Will depend on whether they have giant punamis or maybe they're a spit up kid, and it's tricky, which is the reason why, like I said, we've got such a big duffel bag, is because we are packing a lot of stuff to kind of help us out. The other thing I've packed in here is a plastic bag for any dirty clothes. I can then put in the bag and then take it home. That way it doesn't get mixed up with the clean clothes. The other thing that we pack in Bub's bag is our kind of announcement props. So my cousin has hand knitted or crocheted us some beanies and little scarves, and we love taking it up to the hospital and using them in the babe's birth announcement. So in here we've got a pink and purple one if Bubby is a girl, and then we've got like a teal and blue if Bubby is a boy. Finally, the other thing that I pack in Bubby's bag is some breastfeeding stuff. So I have a really dodgy milk supply. I really have to work on it, and so I pack fenugreek. And I also pack a breastfeeding gold multivitamin. I find those two supplements really do help me in establishing and maturing my milk, and since doing that with my third child, I had a really enjoyable breastfeeding journey and experience, and it was actually the longest one that I have had. So every time I breastfeed, I learn something new about me and my body and how I make milk, and that's what works for me. Previously, I've made lactation cookies and taken them up to the hospital, but I find that they're tasty, but it's not something that I want to do this time around. Now, when it comes to Mick and I, we just share a suitcase, and this is probably where we have gotten the art of packing down to a fine art, because we are just taking the bare minimum. We've come to discover that sometimes you overpack clothing for you, because when you are sleep deprived and just trying to figure out life with a newborn baby, you don't actually wear a lot of clothes. You mostly just live and breathe in pajamas. And that is something that I took into consideration, and this time around I actually purchased some nursing pajamas off Pat Pat, because I figured if I'm going to go in a hospital and I'm going to be wearing PJs all day, then I'd like to spoil myself and get some really nice breastfeeding PJs. So I've purchased 4 pairs of pajamas and I'll be taking them up. One of my traditions that started with our firstborn is that I actually get matching picture of pajamas with Bubby and myself. Being summer, I don't want to be wearing flannelettes, so I'm literally taking this up just to get the picture, because the other 3 kids have the same picture wearing their little onesie. But otherwise, I've got a variation of pajamas because I didn't know what style of nursing PJs I wanted to buy, so I kind of bought a little bit of everything. I am packing these really sweet ones. These aren't nursing ones, but they're just ones that make me feel good and feel really lovely. Then I'm packing nursing pajamas that have a short shirt but long pants. I've got another set that is a short shirt and short shorts, so if I'm feeling a bit warm in hospital, which I doubt I will because hospitals are always seemingly cold. And then finally, I purchased a nightie. I'm really excited that I have these nice special nursing pajamas, and I feel like it's money well spent because, like I said, we're not having any visitors, and even with the potential lift of restrictions, I only have one set of clothing that is like normal everyday clothes. Otherwise, you really do just live and breathe in pajamas because the bub is feeding every 3 hours. You're taking roughly an hour to feed. You get like a 2-hour break and then you start it again for 24 hours straight, 7 days a week. Things that I'm taking are some socks because you never want to have cold feet in hospital. I've got 2 shirts. One is nursing friendly and one is just a shirt that I really love and enjoy. I've packed 2 nursing bras. I find nursing bras to be a bit sore when I'm first establishing my breastfeeding journey, and I generally just go braless because I am having to nurse so frequently and for so long. But I have them for like when we're going home or if anyone is allowed to visit, then obviously I want to be a little bit more decent. This time around, I also picked up some postpartum bike shorts. It was kind of tricky because I don't really know what my body size is going to be like after I give birth, so I've kind of guesstimated it and I'm hoping that they will support me. If anything, they might be just a little bit too loose, but that's okay because they were really decently priced, so I can go back to the store and get the size down if I need to. But this is going to help just my abdomen to feel supported after I give birth. And then finally, the last thing that I splurged and treated myself to was a going home outfit for me because we always focus on baby, and for the longest time I've never really packed anything for me. And like I said, this is all I'm packing for 5 days in hospital, and I purchased a nursing friendly dress. Once again, when I was shopping, I didn't really know what size I'm going to be after birth, so I kind of sized up because I figured I don't want anything to be too tight and fitted. But I'm really excited that that's all I'm taking. I feel like I haven't excessively packed clothing wise. I do have a couple of extra things which I'm now going to share as well, but these things are more so for comfort and personal preference. The other thing I packed is a pair of slippers. I went out and got a new pair just for the hospital and they're so comfy. I also bring a dressing gown just because if I need to go for a walk around the ward, I don't want to necessarily get changed, and so I just put that on top of my PJs. The reality of afterbirth is taking maternity pads. I have 2 packs of these, as well as 1 pack of Dependables. Obviously, if you've been following my journey, you know that my pelvic floor isn't too good, and so that is a necessity for me postpartum. The hospital does provide some stuff, but I do like to take my own just in case. One thing that I learned from my stay with Finn is that I like to take essential oils. I like to have it in the birthing suite, but I also like to have it in my own room afterwards. So I take lavender, and the other one is peppermint. I find that that combination in my diffuser is a really nice combination. The lavender kind of soothes me and the peppermint helps things to be fresh, because when you're stuck in a hospital room for 5 days without fresh air, it can get a little bit stuffy, but I find those 2 combination oils really does work for me. Finally, in my toiletry bag, I pack deodorant, hair ties, shampoo and conditioner, and soap. Obviously, in the final stages of packing, we will add toothbrushes, toothpaste, hairbrushes, and I also like to take up just the bare minimum of makeup, which for me is just a mascara and an eyebrow pencil with an eyebrow brush. I find that there's no need to put on a full face of makeup. I don't even do it on the everyday, and so I'm definitely not gonna do it postpartum. Here in the top of my bag is a whole heap of treats and snacks to keep us going, because when you are buying those sorts of things from the vending machine at the hospital, they are really expensive. So we do have some healthy snacks as well as some cheeky snacks in there, just to keep us going throughout our hospital stay and just to give that little pick me up. So that is what we are taking to hospital for our 4th and final time. I hope this has been informative for you if you're in the process of packing, or you wanted to double check, have you packed too much or not enough? If there is something that you have as a necessity in your bag, please comment it down below. I would love to hear what you just can't live without when you go to hospital. And how long is your hospital stay for? Do you just go for 24 hours? Are you a long stay like us and you're a week long? All these things are so different from hospital to hospital, country to country, and I would love to just connect with you. So if you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday, because quite soon will be our birth vlog, which is crazy, and just what it's like to have a newborn for that first week, because it is tricky, because this parenting gig doesn't come with a rule book. We only have each other, and I'll see you in my next upload. Bye.